This is Grusha, the Ice-type gym leader in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. He is supposed to be the final gym leader we face, and also the only gym leader not working a second job. That's because he had a major accident the last time he went snowboarding and was forced to retire from the sport entirely. Grusha now focuses solely on his role as gym leader, and that should make him one of the strongest trainers in the region, right? Well, to find out, I decided to play through the whole game as Grusha, using the same Pokemon abilities and movesets as his post-game rematch team, along with a list of other rules that might make this run near impossible. It's time to see if Grusha could become champion in Pokemon Violet. When I do these character runs, I typically add Pokemon to the team as they become available. However, that's a bit of a problem with Grusha. That's because most of his team isn't catchable within the level limit until the last 2 gym badges, and if I try to do this run with just Swablu and Snom, I'm not gonna get very far. So just this once, I thought I'd do what some commenters suggest for every challenge run video I've made so far, and that's to just send over eggs for all of his Pokemon and do the run with Grusha's full team from the very beginning. Not gonna lie gamers, this felt a little bit like cheating, but as I quickly realized, most of these Pokemon are pretty bad until they evolve, mainly because they don't learn any good moves, so it kinda balanced things out. Also, before the run could even start, I think I bumped into another bug. When I was doing my first battle with Arven, this little guy didn't despawn, so he was just sitting there giving Squavit the cold shoulder the entire time. And then he stayed there for the cutscene and everything, so of course I had to catch him. Anyways, I started off the run by heading over to Cartando, which I guess is far away enough to make Snom love me, since this little guy evolved while I was trying to get the babies up to level 10 for the first gym. And this evolution turned out to be pretty useful, since we could just spam Icy Wind at Katie's bugs and knock them out one by one, except for that Teddy Ursa. That bear is built different. I sent out Cupchew next and made it spam Play Nice, which would lower Teddy Ursa's physical attack, but it wasn't enough to survive the Fury Cutters. Citaro could barely do any damage with its Ice Shards, and even a critical hit with a Peg could barely dent his HP. However, we did survive its attack and then knocked it out the next turn. If it was just Frostmoth and Swablu here, Grusha would have lost. Next, we hit up the club at Artisan, which I'm pretty sure was not a glitch, but it definitely looked a bit silly. And after jamming out with some Sunflora, it was time to challenge gym number 2. Frostmoth was once again super useful here, as it quickly swept through Brassius' leads and did some decent damage to the Sudowoodo, but this fake tree could easily take us out with one single rock throw. Thankfully, Citaro is pretty bulky, so we could just spam Ice Shard and finish off the battle with ease. But if the only other Pokemon we had here was Swablu, I'm pretty sure Grusha would lose.
Why do you keep saying that?
What, did you lose?
Yeah, man. That's so uncool.
Oh, my bad. I tend to get carried away thinking about all the things that could be, you know?
Well, I'd appreciate it if you'd cool it.
That touchy of a subject for you, huh?
You wouldn't understand.
Try me.
Fine. I used to be good at 2 things. Snowboarding and Pokemon battles. Now that I can't hit the slopes anymore, battling is all I'm good for. I already feel so useless. I just can't bear to lose the other thing that makes me, me.
Yeah, that is really heavy, like being hit with an avalanche, but I totally get it, man.
You do?
Kind of. I wasn't a professional driver or anything, but I live in a place where you have to drive to get anywhere, and unfortunately, I can't drive anymore due to a medical condition. Dysautonomia, the doctor called it?
Well, Pokemon shouldn't be driving in the first place.
Before I was a Pokemon. The human me, I mean. I guess that part wasn't in the professor's letter. Anyways, it wasn't just driving. I couldn't go to stores or the park. Heck, I even struggled to eat for half a year. I felt more useless than a newborn baby, and to be honest, it was pretty scary.
I hear you. It sounds like you're better now, right?
Not all the way, still can't drive, but at least I can eat again for the most part, and go on walks, which is nice. But that's beside the point. I know what it's like to lose a part of yourself, and how dreadful it feels to watch the parts that remain start to slip away. And I genuinely mean that. It's definitely been hard to see my ViewTube channel start to fall off in performance, at least compared to how it used to be.
You could probably ask Iono about that. Actually, never mind. I liked her stuff better before she started trying to please the algorithm or whatever.
Hey, that's as good advice as any. But anyways, I just wanted to say that I understand where you're coming from, and I'm sorry for saying things that came out as hurtful.
To be honest, I really didn't think anyone would ever get me, but it sounds like you do. And that makes you pretty cool, at least in my book.
Aw, thanks Grusha. You're pretty cool too.
I don't know about that. Anyways, we should get going.
Ironically enough, our next destination was Levincia, where we had to face off against Iono, and unfortunately, things did not go so well. We could easily take down her Watro, but that belly bolt was too bulky for our little ice types. So by the time we finished it off, Swablu was already struggling to exist. We tried to prepare a bit more for the rematch, but the only major change we could do was evolve Citaro using an ice stone from a cave near Zapapico. The sad part was that even when evolved, Cititan doesn't learn any good moves at this low a level. So I was hoping we could also get Sneasel to evolve or something like that, but there weren't any Razor Claws stocked in the Delibird Presents. Is it Delibird Presents or Delibird Presents? Which means this is all we can get before the rematch. Frostmoth easily knocked out Watro with an Aurora Beam and even managed to weaken Bellybolt this time around. Then Cititan came in to finish it off and continued to spam Takedown, which slowly chiseled away at Luxio's HP. After that, we could just finish it off with an Ice Shard. Nope. Paralyzed. Good thing Sneasel knows Quick Attack. That left Iono with just Miss Magius, and we just kept spamming Quick Attack, which turned out to work pretty well. Sadly, our Cubchoo couldn't do anything here, and Swablu was simply too weak to turn the tides of battle, meaning even with a full team, Grusha would always lose to Iono. It's okay, because we can do the gyms in any order, so even though we can't win right now, we can just come back later when we're over-leveled and get an easy win.
It's not the same, though.
Fine, I'll help you out a little. See? We won!
Whatever.
I'm gonna have to think of another way to cheer him up. What I'm feeling down in the dumps? It helps to just break things down to smaller parts and tackle it one by one, otherwise it just feels overwhelming and too scary to even try. And since Grusha's all beat up about Pokemon battles, I got him to go to the desert near Cascarafa and duke it out with some of the trainers there. Not only did he get some useful experience, we also got the TM for Earthquake from one of the league reps in the area. And then once we felt ready, we went to challenge Gym Leader Kofu. Frostmoth was once again the most reliable lead Pokemon in my Gym Leader runs so far, being able to take down Kofu's lead with ease, and then doing some fair amount of damage to his second Pokemon. Cititan came in to finish off Wugtrio, but we really struggled to dent the Crab's HP. Cubchoo was still utterly useless, and so was Sneasel, which meant it was all down to Swablu, and when it's all down to Swablu, we lose. Hey, I know it looks bad, but we gotta keep going.
What's the point? I'm a has-been. You're better off evolving into a Frostlass and following around Rhyme.
First of all, I couldn't turn into a Frostlass even if I decided to let go of my Everstone. Second, it's just 2 losses, not the end of the world. We can just try again later.
That what you say when you upload 2 failed videos back to back?
No, I end up feeling bad about myself, but I usually take a few days off to refresh and then get back to it.
See? So let me sulk in peace.
Fine, you win this one. Let's take a break for a bit. Ooh, I know. How about we go to Medali? They've got these really tasty rice balls you can buy from an ice cream stand.
That sounds kind of terrible.
You're telling me that you don't want to go to the rice cream stand?
Please stop.
Alright, jokes aside, I am pretty hungry, so could we please go get some food?
Fine, as long as you promise to chill out.
You've got yourself a deal. The best part about Medali is all the different food places you can eat at, and lucky for Grusha, I am a very slow eater, so we went to sit at the amphitheater and relax for a bit. The bad news for him was that some of his fans spotted us and even asked to battle. He seemed a bit reluctant at first, but then agreed to it since he didn't want to disappoint them. The good news is that all those battles helped Swablu level up and finally evolve into Altaria. It's no longer useless. It was nice to see that the positive interaction with his fans helped Grusha get a bit more motivated again. All this motivation took him all the way to Larry's gym, and he was fired up enough to try and get a win. The Dunsparce is always a tough customer, but Cititan was able to take it down. However, that Staraptor is always a problem, especially with how strong it is. The bad news for Larry was that Sneasel knows Foul Play, a move that uses its enemy's attack stat, and Staraptor has a really high attack stat. So with that, Grusha finally got the win he also deserved. This win also meant several other good things, like Razor Claws finally being stocked at the Delibird shop, and the level cap going high enough for Cubchoo to finally evolve. Although for some reason, Grusha's post-game Bear Tick only knows 3 moves. Same for the Frostmoth actually. Thankfully, they fixed that in the DLC, but I'm still going to be using the main game team for this one, so 3 moves it is. It's Speaking of moves, it's time to shake it up at Montenevera, and by at Montenevera, I mean by Montenevera, cause I ain't going in there. And I doubt Grusha's gonna bust a move, so I won't miss out on too much. Besides, I can hear everything since the MC Sledge guy likes to scream the play-by-play through the speakers. Grusha leads with Frostmoth and Titan, using Aurora Beam to break Mimikyu's disguise and then bouncing up into the sky. Isn't this thing like 1,500 pounds? Sure doesn't hit like it. To top it off, Rhyme focused on Frostmoth and took it out with ease. We used Ice Shard to cool off her Mimikyu and Icicle Crash the Bayonet, but after vanishing into thin air, Houndstone was immune to Toxtricity's discharge attack, which did a number on Grusha's team. The good news for us is that Weavile knows Shadow Claw, which is super effective against Rhyme's Ghost-type Pokemon, so we got ourselves another gym badge. All we had left to do is go and take on Tulip, but we also paid a visit to Kofu on the way, and being over-leveled made such a big difference, let me tell ya, because Frostmoth just soloed his entire team. You'd think we have an easy time against Tulip too, since bug types have an advantage against her psychics, but we just weren't hitting hard enough. That's okay though, because when in doubt, just spam stab moves and they'll do enough damage to pull off some wins. Her Florges was definitely on the bulkier side, but not too hard to handle, especially for Weavile. And now that we've collected all of the gym badges, it was time to prepare for the Elite Four. And you know what that means, ham and pickle sandwich time.
Actually, I have something else in mind.
Something other than farming Chansey? Sure, I'm all ears.
Apart from gym challengers, we only get two other types of visitors to my gym. Fans and the Dragon Clan.
The Dragon Clan?
I thought it was weird too at first. They like to challenge my gym since ice types are strong against their dragons.
I didn't think they'd be that dedicated to their training.
Right? But battling them is what gave me the confidence to stay on as gym leader.
You were gonna quit?
That would have been so uncool. But back when I was out of commission for a few months, after the incident, I started to wonder if I should bother coming back to the gym. Would anyone even care if I stopped being a gym leader? Not like many students make it up there anyways.
And here I was thinking you got motivated by the easy wins.
To be honest, that did help a bit. But the Dragon Clan, they didn't just see me as a formidable opponent. They also saw me as a friend. I couldn't count how many times they visited me in the hospital or sent over flowers.
Aw, that's very sweet of them.
Yeah, and I guess it was pretty cool to feel like I was part of a community. Like people cared, and not just because I was some sort of celebrity.
I see. So now that it's your turn to train up a bit.
Exactly. I thought it'd be best to pay them a little visit.
So we headed north from Grusha's gym and took on the Dragon Sisters, who were hanging out near some abandoned towers. But since we needed a bit more EXP before going to challenge the league, Grusha agreed to try the ham and pickle sandwich strategy too. And after that, it was time to kick off the real challenge. We could lose any of the gym battles and keep going because open world we can just come back later, but losing here is not an option. Things started out very smooth, since our Titan knows Liquidation and Ice Spinner, moves that let it plow through Rika's team. Meanwhile, Larry's team of flying types wasn't much of a problem either, even though his flamethrowing Altaria did give me a bit of a scare. Hassel may be the head of the Dragon Clan, but he's been skipping out on training, so we glossed over his team no problem. But Poppy? I skipped her for a reason. Beartick knew Earthquake so it could shake away her Caparaja, but her sturdy Magnezone could not be one-shot, making us lose the advantage. The Bronzong was also pretty bulky, but weak to ghost type moves, so not too much of a problem. Now Corviknight, that's a problem. Thankfully, our terastallized Altaria got extremely lucky, freezing the bulky bird with an ice beam. That meant it couldn't hit us, it couldn't move, so all we had to do now was take down the Tinkaton. The only problem is that this thing is the Nessa of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Just loves to shatter anyone's hope of becoming champion. I did cheese my way through the fight to see how the next three would go, but I'm sad to say that Grusha couldn't win against top champion Gita either. Ironically enough, he loses because his team can't do too much against her bulky Avalugg. Grusha loses to Gita because of her ice type, and of course in the off chance that he manages to take down the Avalugg with a totally legal Pokemon on his team that he got from a mystery gift, her Glimmora would just one-shot the rest of his team, meaning Grusha here could not become champion of Paldea. And before you say, but he gets a Alola Ninetales in the DLC, I'd like to point out that Gita likes to follow up with King Gambit, who would simply one-shot the pretty fox. So sadly, no champion rank for our ex-snowboarding friend here.
So uncool.
My apologies, young man. I was lost in thought and didn't see you coming out the building.
Whatever.
Wait, I know that tone of voice all too well. What's wrong, lad?
Doesn't matter.
But it does. Despair is an awful thing. And I, for one, do not wish to see others fall into that pit.
It's just complicated, old man.
Judging by your mood and the fact that you're walking out of the league's building, I take it you failed the champion assessment.
Now you're gonna rub it in, too?
On the contrary, it is quite the difficult challenge, one which I have failed many times before.
So, you're here to try it again?
Oh no, I'm here for some other business.
Well then, don't let me waste any more of your time.
Hold it.
What is it, old man? Can't you see I want to be left alone?
How about we have ourselves a little battle? If you win, I will leave you alone, just as you ask.
And if I lose?
Then you stick around a bit longer, so that we can have a proper talk about whatever's bothering you, man to man.
Whatever. Let's get this over with so I can go chill out in the mountains.
The battle started off with Turo sending out a strange-looking Volcarona, and of course it knows a fire-type move. Thankfully, Beartech can one-shot it with an Earthquake, but then follows up with a Tyranitar? Titan manages to liquidate it and deal major damage to the dragon with an Ice Shard, then has Weavile finish it off. Sadly, the Hariyama knows a super effective move, leaving us with just Altaria, who could barely do enough damage to knock it out. That just meant it was time for us to use our one-time heal and take on the Delibird, which was not too much of a problem because it didn't know any super effective moves. Leaving Turo with just his Gardevoir/Gallade. I don't know what this thing is. What I do know is that we failed to one-shot it with Altaria, and I'm just a Snorunt. Ouch.
So close. But I lost anyways.
There you go, beating yourself up again. What if I told you that in the past 10 years, I've never battled a trainer who came this close to winning?
I thought you said you failed the champion assessment several times. It's not cool to lie, old man.
The name's Turo, and that was no lie. Back when I was a student, I failed to get the rank many times. Eventually, I gave up on trying to be a stronger trainer, but everything changed 10 years ago.
So, you just want to overshare your backstory, is that it?
Not quite, young man. I simply wish to keep you company, for the only thing worse than despair is facing it alone.
Oh, then no need to worry. I'm not alone.
You're not?
Hello.
Hello. Wait a moment.
Yep, I'm a talking Pokemon. Vasco's the name. Nice to meet ya.
And here I thought I'd seen everything in Paldea. Although it seems this chance encounter will have to wait.
What's going on?
Something which has not happened in over a decade. A terrestrial event.
A what now?
It's a long story. Seems triangulation is complete. The Fury Falls, huh? I apologize, lads, but I must go there post-haste. Do not follow. It is too dangerous.
Did he say the Fury Falls?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, not good. Gita told me a group of students were setting up some sort of base in that area.
Why would she tell you that?
She wanted me to go give them a lesson and send them back to school.
But you didn't?
Man, I tried, but my ice types couldn't do anything against their leader and her fighting types. Anyways, it sounds like they might be in danger.
Aw, so you want to help?
Not sure how much I could do, but I can't just do nothing. Now let's go.
Interesting. After a decade, this is your move? What are you thinking, Terapagos?
There you are.
Huh? I thought I told you lads to stay away.
Yeah, but there's students in the area. Grusha went to warn them.
In that case, I shall thank the young man later. But for now, what do you make of this?
It's very pretty, I guess. Wait, is this the thing that you were worried about?
Precisely. What I cannot comprehend is why it's taken this specific shape.
I thought it's just a crystal, right? See? Nothing to it.
Fool! Come back here this instant!
Why? It's just a pretty stone.
Sup, old man? You look flustered.
Grusha, you're here. Thank goodness. Call back your Pokemon this instant. He is playing with a fire which cannot be...
If only I had the same freedom as this foolish professor.
What's going on?
Greetings, you lost little soul. I am Chiyu, one born of envy.
And I'm Vasco, one, lost in time?
One knows who you are.
You do?
One met a previous you mere moments ago, and moments later, Terapagos cut said meeting short.
That steak was me?
Indeed, although your other self carried much more weight, and was much greener.
Wait, does this mean I'm about to turn into a steak too?
That is precisely why one is transferring one's powers unto you.
Your powers.
Correct. When one was sealed all those centuries ago, Terapagos could not perform the task alone. and by petrifying your other self. The tortoise has left one with no other option.
And that's to give your powers to me.
Indeed, typically, one would never choose to pursue this route. But given that you've already endured our curses for so long, one believes you capable of controlling one's powers.
Wait, did you say curses?
Indeed, I am Chiyu, one born of envy, a cursed treasure of ruin.
Oh, that's not good. Then I'll be stuck here forever. Could you maybe not do that?
One does not comprehend your concerns. Regardless, one cannot simply halt this process, for it is nearly complete. In mere moments, your mind will be flooded with envy. If you do not completely drown in its flames, you shall have access to one's powers. Use them to defeat Terapagos when the time comes. Farewell, you lost little soul. Oh, how I envy thee.
Put out. Quickly, Iron Valiant, before it's too late.
Grusha.
What's wrong?
Grusha.
Old man, is it just me or is it starting to get really warm around here?
Grusha.
Boy.
Grusha.
We must flee at once.
Grusha.
Now. We must flee now.
But what about...
Oh, Grusha. How I envy you.
You envy me?
That's right. You think you're a has-been, yet the world loves you. You think yourself weak, yet you're the strongest gym leader in Paldea. Oh, how I wish I had a fraction of your reputation.
What are you talking about, man? I just bring the mood down where I go.
Your fans would disagree. The Dragon Tamers would disagree. Even Gita would disagree. A loser like you should not have all that fame and fortune, while I, who struggles much more, gets nothing.
Oh, so that's how you really feel?
Now then, let me show you the meaning of envy. Let me burn it all away.
So uncool. But if that's how it's gonna be, then I have no other choice.
And then what happened?
Titan one-shot him with liquidation and he went back to his Pokeball.
Well, according to my healing machine, he's perfectly fine in there, and it looks like he's back to being a Snowrunt. Although that letter you showed me did mention he could change forms, so I'm not that surprised.
Anyways, I've done everything the old man asked me to, so can I, go now?
Yes, thank you very much for bringing this talking Pokemon to me, Grusha, and have a safe trip home.
Peace.
Now then, let me add all this information to the letter real quick. And then, well, I suppose you already know. I'll send you back to the past to find another you and come back to my lab. Just don't be so shy next time, okay?